Hi, everybody. My name's Tom Moore. I work with Remax Nova here in Halifax. Today, I'm going to be doing my first market update for the month of November. It's a little different than some of the previous content that I have produced, but figured I would give a little bit more value in terms of telling people about the data of the individual neighborhoods, as well as what's going on in a more broader sense in terms of Halifax overall. So what I've done is I've essentially created a slideshow. Now, the first slide is obviously going to be more of, the overview of HRM, or which is now known as Halifax. And then I'm going to work through about 18 different neighborhoods. So what I've gone ahead and done is on the bottom of this video, you'll be able to see the bookmark. So if you're either looking to buy in a certain area or you currently own a house in a certain neighborhood, then you can just kind of skip to there. But what I will get you to do or advise you to do is watch the first neighborhood, which is Bedford, and I'll kind of explain the numbers so you can see what I mean by what I'm talking about in those numbers. And then when we get to your neighborhood, you'll know kind of what I'm talking about in terms of your neighborhood. So what we will do is I will bring up the slideshow now. Okay, there we go. Voila. All right. View, present. Okay. All right. Well, I'm already in. Okay. So here we go. So this is obviously the Halifax real estate market update for the month of November 2021. So the aim is to do one of these a month for the rest of the time. All right. So this is obviously kind of the Halifax overview. So this is what would have been known as HRM back in the day and is now known as just Halifax in general. So average days on market was 18. Now there's going to be some outliers there on realistically with when you take a look at the ground, the situation on the ground, it's much shorter. Things are going most of the time under a week. So there would have been some outliers there that kind of boost that number up. But basically, the market is moving very quickly. Average list price, $442,025. What that is it's basically what the property was actually listed at. So when it first came on the market, this is the number that the seller and the real estate agent came up with to list at. Now, the average sale price is what they actually received on average. So as a lot of people are aware, things are going quite a bit over ask. And in this case, on average, things were going for $479,735. So what those numbers work out to is what you're going to see in that last data point there. List price to sale price percentage. So on average, properties are going for about 108.5% they're asking. So essentially the asking price plus 8.5%. Okay, so this is the first slide we're going to do is Bedford. So I've gone ahead and kind of mapped out the area so you can see exactly where, if you're looking in that area or if your house falls into that map. So, all right, so getting into Bedford. So the total sales and days on market. So the total sales is there to just show you as we go along and create these videos over the next several years, you'll be able to tell kind of exactly how hot the market is based on what happened that month. Now, right now, there's such a supply glut that obviously this number is likely to remain low for quite a while. So the total sales was 9 and the days on market was 4. Now, that days on market really shows how quick the market is actually moving, where things are getting listed and then 4 days later, they're accepting an offer, right? So there's just a lot of traction, a lot of activity here. So showings per listing and then new listings. So the showings per listing, I included that because that's 15 different people or families going to see each of these properties. And if things are really only on the market for 4 days, then it really shows you how quick and how much demand there is out there for the lack of supply that we have. Now the new listings again was 8, so not too much. Usually around late November and then through December we see a bit of a slowdown just because people are gearing up for the holidays. They don't necessarily want to sell over the holiday season, and it's just a little, it can get a bit messy there. So sale price to list price percentage, again, just like the previous slide, 108.2% is on average what we're seeing things go for. The single family, so these are single family homes, not condos. Single family year over year percentage, in this case, it was an increase of 25.3%. So comparing to last year, we're seeing an increase again of just around 25%. Now the single family monthly comparison, so that first number there is actually from October, and that's an average. And then the second number is from obviously November. So overall, we saw a little bit of a decrease in price points. However, it's really important to take in that 25.3% increase into account. That is really a bit more of an accurate representation of kind of the trend line. It's been going up for a while, and what likely happened in this case was that there was just the inventory that was on the market was just priced lower, and maybe we're not the same type of houses that sold in October versus November. Oh, and I forgot the percentage point here on the condo year over year percentage, but obviously that's a year over year increase of 18.9%. So again, we're seeing strong growth there as well. And then the condo monthly comparison. So same thing as previously. That first number is October, second month is November. And again, that likely represents, is representative of the type of condos that were sold. There's probably just in October, either more high value condos versus in November, there was lower value condos. All right, so now we're going to go on to Clayton Park and Rockingham. So I'll leave this up again for a little bit. All right, so total sales and days on market were 41 and 5 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings were 15 and 35 respectively. So again, just like Bedford, lots of traffic in those places. Obviously, a lot more being listed in Clayton Park and Rockingham than in Bedford, but you know, so that's a good sign there in terms of the value. And those numbers were again remaining close to that total sales in regards to the new listing. So sale price to list price percentage, 109.1%, a little higher than Bedford. Single family year over year percentage up about 35.7%. So that's pretty crazy when comparing to last year. So single family monthly comparison, again, that first number being for October, second number being for November. First month is 509,250, while the second number is 553,000. Now the condo year over year percentage, we're getting up there now, 40.2% year over year in this neighborhood in particular. The condo monthly comparison is 315,000 in October versus 330,500 in the month of November. All right, Cole Harbour. So Cole Harbour, I believe that includes Colby Village as well. We'll get right into that here. I left out condos in this just because there really wasn't enough data points to warrant me putting something in regards to condos. I think there was, there's been probably 5 listings over the last 5 months, if that. So this is data that primarily pertains to what happened with the single family market and, the lower density stuff. So total sales, days on market, 24 and 6 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings, 18.9 and 23. So that's basically the highest number we've seen in terms of showings per listing. It shows you how much activity is really happening out in Cole Harbour. The sale price to list price percentage, 115.2%. Now the single family year over year percentage, in this case, an increase of 37.7%. Single family monthly comparison, the first number again being 410,000, representing the average in October, versus $394,500, representing the month of November. All right, moving into Dartmouth. So this is quite a large area. Now what I did to actually create these areas was I essentially just took into account what Google Maps considers to be Dartmouth. And then I just drew out on my realtor tool so that I could get the data based on what's going on in that neighborhood. So, all right, Dartmouth stats. We included the condos, obviously, because there is some condo sales there in Dartmouth. So the total sales and days on market, total sales was 56, average days on market 5, again, very low. Showings per listing at 14.8 on average, and new listings was 57. So we actually had a little increase in regards to the supply and to offset what went in October. The sale price to list price percentage, 112%. Single family year over year percentage is 18.8% increase. Single family monthly comparison is 425,000 in the month of October and 401,000 in the month of November. Condo year over year percentage, an increase of 41.6% on average. Condo monthly comparison, again, month of October, 430,000 versus month of November, $380,500. Okay, so this is downtown Halifax. You can take a look at kind of where I mapped this out. I didn't include any single family in this just because there really is hardly any single family, if at all, that ever comes up on the market. So this is just going to be talking about condos. So the total sales was 4, days on market 52, showings per listing and new listings was 4.6 and 8 respectively. So it's a little, the condo market, obviously, as you can see, it's a little slower. There's just a little less demand basically for condos at this point in time than for single family or lower density in the HRM. And those numbers are obviously reflecting that. Sale price to list price percentage, 100%, 100.8%. So again, there hasn't been, by the looks of things, by these numbers, hasn't been like a ton of multi offers or bidding wars that we're seeing in some other parts of the city. So the sale price is matching the list price much more closely. Oh, there we go. All right, condo year over year percentage is an increase of 8.3%. So again, much more manageable. It's still gone up quite a bit, but it's not nearly the same increase that we're seeing in a lot of these other neighborhoods. And then the condo monthly comparison. So 545,000 in the month of October versus 630,000 in the month of November. Now, when it comes to the condos, you get a wide range of what is, on the market versus, whether it's on the lower end or the higher end. You can get some of these multi-million-dollar penthouses when you're in the downtown core, but you can also have some condos that are a little smaller in some older buildings. So the other big thing to watch out for there when you are buying condos is take a look at what the condo fees are, because at the end of the day, that's going to add to how much you have to pay to live there every month. Okay, there we go. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Okay, perfect. So Eastern Passage and Cow Bay. So this is a big area. It's Eastern Passage and Cow Bay have really been changing over the last 10 years. And they have access to some awesome beaches, which is, something that people can look forward to if they're looking to have that in terms of improving their quality of life. All right, so Eastern Passage and Cow Bay stats. Sorry, I'm just going to grab a drink of water here. All right, so total sales and days on market, 11 and 4 respectively. Again, very low days on market. The showings per listing and new listing, I believe this is the highest number when it comes to showings per listing. So it really shows you how many people are searching in Eastern Passage. So 22.5 as your showings per listing, and then new listings was only 12, right? So again, it's a bit of a smaller community out there, but obviously there's some serious demand for for houses out there. Again, sale price to list price percentage, 127.3%. So I believe that is the highest number. Again, that's pretty bonkers if you think about it. A single family year over year percentage, we're seeing an increase of 31.3% year over year. And then the single family monthly comparison. So October, we saw $315,750 and $325,000 in the month of November. No condos, just because there really isn't any. I think there was one or two that had gone on the market in the last couple months, but not enough to warrant the data. Okay, so this is Enfield. Basically, the area kind of in and around the airport that's really been taken off in the last several years. A lot of new building going on out there. Yeah, so it's Enfield has really changed over the last while. And it's definitely worth, taking a drive. If you haven't been out there in a while, if you take a drive out there along the main road, like past the rink and whatnot, it is just crazy what they're doing out there. They just put in a new exit as well. So that's really going to help the access for people that are living out there and need to commute either into Halifax or maybe even into Truro. All right, Enfield stats. So total sales and days on market, 10 and 10. Showings per listing and new listings, 6.5 and 15. So a little less demand out there compared to Eastern Passage. The sale price to list price percentage, 105.7%, a little bit more manageable as well. Single family year over year percentage up 17.9%. And then the single family monthly comparison is $380,025 and $365,450. Those numbers obviously are first one being October and then second one being November. All right, Fairmount. So Fairmount, right? Springvale is what everybody else calls it. But yeah, so just decided to include this. This is a pretty unique neighborhood. I actually just filmed a neighborhood spotlight up in that neck of the woods. So figured I'd include it. It's the neighborhood right beside the Ashburn, and then you obviously got access to the rails to trails there. So it's pretty awesome spot. So the numbers here, total sales only 2, and days on market average 21. So there's some pretty, if I recall, there was some pretty high priced stuff up in that neck of the woods. So obviously, usually the higher priced properties they sit a little longer because you're looking for a specific buyer or whatnot. Now, when it comes to showings per listing and new listings, showings per listing was 4.3, and then the new listings was 1. So again, likely what happened there was some high price stuff. You had less interest in it just because there's less people that can afford it. And then, there's only 1 new listing. Sale price to list price percentage. I think this is the only data point that was actually under 100% in regards to sale price to list price percentage. And again, if there's not as much activity, if you're the only one putting an offer in on a house, then you've got a much stronger bargaining position if the seller is looking to move that house quickly. So that's probably what happened there. The single family year over year percentage is 152.2. So I think that is a data point that was really kind of messed up by what happened this month versus the month last year. So what probably happened was there was something that was lower value that sold last year, or on average, what sold this time last year was much lower, 152% than what happened in the month of November. So I included that just because I'm going to include it every month, but I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. And again, so the single family monthly comparison, 601,250 versus 872,500. So you can see that something big sold up there over this past month. And I don't have the number of what the average was this time last year, but I would imagine it's quite a bit lower. All right, so Fairview, again, another neighborhood that's just skyrocketing in terms of prices over the last several years. You know, it's a family neighborhood. There's a lot going on kind of at the bottom of Fairview and Joseph Howe Drive. Like taking a drive up there, it's crazy what they're putting up. You know, at last, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you couldn't have even envisioned what was going to be happening up there. But Fairview's really taken off. So total sales and days on market, 2 and 3. Showings per listing and new listing was 9 and 0. So, you know, that's actually pretty manageable in terms of showings per listing. I was expecting that to be a little higher. You know, when you're comparing Eastern Passage at 22 showings per listings versus Fairview, I guess that would be reflected in the prices. But sale price to list price percentage, 111.7%. Single family year over year percentage is plus 80.8%. So again, like the slide before in Fairmount, these are smaller numbers. So the data points are going to be able to be, you know, really offsetting themselves depending on what happened this time last year. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. There was probably something that was higher priced that sold in the month of November versus last year in the month of November. It was stuff that moved was probably a little lower priced. Single family monthly comparison, 370,000 versus 492,778. So yeah, and again, that's overall Fairview is you know, priced quite a bit lower compared in regards to how close it is to the peninsula. But you can see by those two numbers right there that there was obviously some movement on a higher end house for that neighborhood. Okay, Fall River. So the area just kind of outside on your way to the, on the way to the airport. You know, lots of lakes, big properties, really nice houses out there. So total sales and days on market, 9 and 16 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings, 17.8 and 9. So quite a few showings per listing on average. And when it comes to sale price to list price percentage, 103.6% over ask. So likely not a ton of multi-offer situations considering how close it was to that 100% of list price. But, you know, I'm speculating there. Single family year over year percentage up 30.4%. Single family monthly comparison. So October we saw an average of $645,500 and $620,500 respectively. So that second one is the month of November. Hammonds, Plains, and Lucasville. So I know this is kind of a weird way to loop things in, but I figured I was doing Hammonds, Plains, and you know, I might as well put Lucasville in there instead of including Lucasville with the Sackvilles. So okay, total sales and days on market, 21 and 7 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 22.4 and 26 respectively. So a lot of showings per listing out there. Sale price to list price percentage, 107.2%. Single family year over year percentage up 29.6%. And then single family monthly comparison is 625,000 versus 635,000. All right, the North End. So take a good look there at what I deemed was the North End. I know everybody has different opinions of what is the North End and what's not. Some people, I think, consider this part of the North End as well. But anyways, for the purpose of this, it's not. All right, North End Halifax stats. So total sales and days on market is 24 and 6 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings is 12.3 and 12 respectively. Sale price to list price percentage on average, we're seeing 111.1%. Single family year over year percentage is up 25% on average. Single family monthly comparison is $542,500 in the month of October versus $537,640 in the month of November. When it comes to condo year over year percentage increase, obviously much more manageable and similar to what was going on in downtown. up 5.4%. The condo monthly comparison is $417,900 versus $315,800. Sackville and Beaverbank. So take a peek there, just to make sure that your house or your area that you're looking at is included in this area. All right, total sales and days on market, 57 and 6 respectively. So I'm pretty sure that was one of the hottest markets in the month of November in terms of how much stuff sold. Showings per listing and new listing was 14.2 and 41 respectively. Sale price to list price percentage, 108.7. Single family year over year percentage is up 31.1% on average. Single family monthly comparison, 420,000 versus 412,900. Sorry, banking terms, $412,900. All right, the South End, the most affluent neighborhood, I would say, in in the province. A lot of high wealth homes there. Obviously, you got all the universities. Well, not all. You've got Dow, SMU, King's College, the journalism school, and I'm blanking on the other one. Anyways, the theology, the preschool down by Point Pleasant Park, and then you got quite a few private schools, access to downtown, great neighborhood. All right, so total sales and days on market, 8 and 8 respectively. So again, not a ton comes on in the South End. And the numbers obviously reflect that. Showings per listing and new listing, 7.8 and 7 respectively. Sale price to list price percentage, only 101.5% of the sale price to list price. List price to sale price. Single family year over year percentage is 2.9%. Things are up. Again, I don't know if that number is truly reflective of what's gone on in that area over the last year. There might be, similar to what happened in Fairmount, to the reverse. There might be some stuff that was priced a little higher this time last year, and then also went higher in the month of November. So single family monthly comparison last month, or October, I should say, $1,050,000 on average, and then in the month of November, $865,000 on average. Condo year over year percentage, it's down 0.4%, and condo monthly comparison, $424,900 and $380,000 respectively. So as we continue to do these videos, I'm going to be able to speak to the data a little better and give you kind of a better idea for what's going on in that specific neighborhood and what's kind of been going on in the last year. Because obviously, you take a look at that year over year percentage decrease in this case, that might not truly be reflective of what's going on in the market, but that's based on kind of what we see in the data from this past November versus the November of last year. Now I'm stuck. Okay. There we go. Okay, Spryfield and Armdale. So another large area. I believe this is as far out towards Herring Cove as I went for these reports. So I'll say that at the end of the video. But so again, Spryfield, really up and coming area. A lot of changes over the last decade or so. Lots of lakes and trails and whatnot. They've got a really great mountain biking area kind of out back in this area. Oh no, what's going on here? Okay, well, we'll go on to the stats. So total sales and days on market, 39 and 8 respectively. Showings per listing versus new listings is 11.3 and 26 respectively. So, pretty manageable numbers. Sale price to list price percentage, 104.6%. Single family year over year percentage up 48.5%. Single family monthly comparison is $487,500 versus $506,500. Condo year over year percentage is 55.8%. So I think there were some new builds that they started selling off this year, which may reflect why that number is, I believe there was that new build condo over by the Arm that went up and started selling this year, but I'd have to double check that. So anyways, those are the numbers. That's the 55.8% increase, I believe, is reflected in these new builds. So condo monthly comparison, again, 369,900 and a very close 370,000. Tantallon and Hubley. So that's kind of the area there that I drew out. Another beautiful area, access to a bunch of beaches basically down the road. And you're only really about 20, 25 minutes away from downtown. So no condos in this case because there just really wasn't enough data points there. Total sales and days on market, 8 and 29 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 10.7 and 5 respectively. So, you know, Tantallon, usually a little bit bigger houses, similar to Fall River in terms of, you know, you're either buying or building houses with quite a bit of land. You've got access to the woods and, you know, it's a really pretty phenomenal neighborhood. The sale price to list price percentage, 103.4%. So not some of these crazy numbers that we're seeing in other neighborhoods. And that's probably a reflection of because things are priced higher in Tantallon and you don't have as much of the craziness going on out there as you do in some of these lower priced neighborhoods on average. Single family year over year percentage, 31.7%. They're up. Single family monthly comparison, 591,000 versus 558,000 in the months of October and November, respectively. Okay, Timberlea and Beechville, another area that's you know, become more attractive. There's a couple new build communities slated to come on the market here over the next year, I believe. Yeah, you know, again, close to downtown. You got the golf course in there, Brunello. And they got some really nice houses out there and, you know, really cool kind of quality of life stuff where you got access to the rails to trails, a couple lakes, and then the golf course that you can literally live on now. Yeah, shout out Mark Davis, golf pro at at that golf course and one of my good buddies. All right, total sales and days on market, 13 and 7 respectively. So again, total sales, you know, pretty normal. The days on market, 7, still pretty low. Not as low as some of the other neighborhoods, but obviously things are going within a week. Showings per listing and new listings, 23.4 and 12 respectively. That is a large number of showings per listing. So a lot of demand in that neighborhood. Sale price to list price percentage, 107.1%. Single family year over year percentage, up 21.8% on average. Single family monthly comparison, $407,500 versus $422,500 in the months of October and November, respectively. All right, the West End, Best End, Halifax. You know, take a look again at kind of the area that I included there. Yeah, so there's, you know, you got the mall in there. You got access to the Arm. You've got a bit of, did I include Quinpool? No, I did not. But, you know, great neighborhood. The prices there have been shooting up here in the last while. Yeah, we'll get in, you know, you're steps away from downtown and Citadel and the Commons and all that good stuff. So really a pretty phenomenal neighborhood to raise a family in. All right, total sales and days on market, 19 and 5 respectively. Quite a bit of turnover, actually. Showings per listing and new listing, 24.5. So that's, I think, our biggest number of showings per listing. And, you know, people want to live in that neighborhood right now. New listings, only 13. Sale price to list price percentage, 108.3%. So I think that's because it's a higher priced market in regards to some of the other neighborhoods. But I heard that something in that neck of the woods went for, I think, 180,000 over asking over the last couple of weeks here. So, you know, definitely there's some people that are really, really wanting to move in there, and they're willing to pay a lot to be there. Single family year over year percentage increase of 10%. Single family monthly comparison, 635,000 in the month of October versus $616,500 in the month of November. All right, I included Windsor. We're getting to the end here, but you know, I know there's a lot of people that are starting to think about maybe Windsor. I might do Truro next month as well, because that's another community. It's funny, like growing up here, you know, people would never, you know, we would never think of potentially living in Windsor or Truro and commuting to Halifax as much as somebody who grew up in the city. And now it's becoming more and more common. And there's a lot of building going on out in Truro, and I think Windsor is also slated to really start taking off. So I'm getting more interest in Windsor. Beautiful community. You're next door to the wine region. You got access to the Bay of Fundy, and you know, Acadia University is around the corner there. That's a beautiful town, Wolfville. And you're really only like a 45-minute drive from downtown, which is, I know, crazy for a lot of the people coming from Ontario. But you know, again, if you grew up in the city, a 45-minute drive, you might as well be driving to Timbuktu. All right, so the stats. Total sales and days on market, 24 and 8 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing is 8.2 and 18. So, you know, not a crazy amount of interest out there compared to some of the other neighborhoods, like the last one, West End, which I think was 24 or something. But the sale price to list price percentage, 108.7%. So things are going for quite a bit over ask up there. Single family year over year percentage, 39.2%. Things are up year over year. So single family monthly comparison, 282. Oh, I put a percentage sign there. That was wrong. $282,500 versus $300,000. Okay. What is going on? Oh, sorry. Okay, there's one more, I think. It's not letting me. Maybe not. Okay, let's see if that is done. Yeah, okay. So we are done. All right. So yeah, just to kind of sign off here. Obviously, this is my first one of these videos. If you watch the whole thing, thank you for listening to me go on about the neighborhoods here in Halifax. But, you know, because this is my first one of these, would love to hear some critique on, you know, certain things I could include in the individual stats. Maybe there's certain neighborhoods that I left out that you'd be interested in seeing. You know, obviously this is my first one of these, so I'm trying to include data points and helpful info that you can use if you're looking to buy or looking to sell. Excuse me. Or maybe there's some data points in there that I should be taking out because they're irrelevant to you. But you know, again, if you got any comments or questions, concerns, anything that I could do to improve these videos, then you know, I'd love to hear from you. So other than that, I think that is it. And I hope everybody has a great December, whatever holiday you're celebrating, spend time with family. And, you know, now that COVID's kind of taken a bit of a back seat, that would be, you know, definitely something to key up on, is go see family, go see friends, and try to get back to normal. But other than that, yeah, everybody have a great day. I'm going to post this here, and I guess you've already seen it. All right, have a good one. I work with one more time. I work with Remax here in Halifax. My name's Tom Moore, and I'll include my contact info at the bottom. Have a great day.